Hello and welcome to So You Think You're Awake, the show about dreams and their meanings. I'm Michael Sheridan and it's my job to set the record straight about dreams. Today we're going to do the show a little bit differently. This is the way I normally do the webinars I have, minus the interaction. Normally we have interaction because we have the dreamers on the line in the webinars. But this is straight from how I do the courses. So hopefully you'll find it a little bit different and hopefully interesting. So let's just go straight to it. So these are just the last few dreams that we got in between last week's show and this week. And we have from Karen, she says, I work as a massage therapist / healer and my work is always evolving and changing and I think I am in for another change. My brother died 20 years ago at Christmas, so I always find this time a bit hard. Even before that happened, I never trusted family, so Christmas for me was always quite hard. Now you're giving away, you're telling us things that are very important there in the comments, and thanks for that. Always include comments with your dreams. So you say, you call the dream highs and lows, but you also mention lack of trust with family, so that's obviously going to be a factor for you. So here's the start of the dream. I was heading towards a very large waterfall. I was scared, telling people, no, I can't go down there as I will never get back up. Then the next thing I know, I'm at the bottom of the waterfall. So the waterfall is good, and going down the waterfall is good. Waterfall is a spiritual source, but it has power. I think we even say this has a great power later in this dream. So you're saying that you think that you're in for another change, and this dream would kind of back that up, because dreams ask us to face our fears, and your fear here in this dream is not, you don't say how you get down, but I presume you jump down the waterfall, and you're afraid that you won't be able to get back up. And of course, it's all about, here it's about activating the heart, moving your center of consciousness from a high location to a low location, from the head to the heart. But it's about taking a leap of faith, and so I think you're right about things going to change. So the dream is saying take a leap of faith. And then the next thing, I know I'm at the bottom, and that's good, in the water, and that's good too. The only time water isn't good in a dream is if it's contaminated, polluted, etc. So here it's about your being in your spiritual flow, taking the plunge. That's really good. There are two people there with me in front of me as I land in the water. At the bottom is all white spray from the force of the waterfall. You can't actually see anything underneath. So this is here because white is the only color you mention, but the spray is on the top of the water. It's not everything. So you have the water with the white spray. So this is white when it's on its own is quite often about being critical, and so you're saying, well, my issue is I can't see where I'm going, or I can't see the depth of this, or where it has depth, or whatever it is. You substitute the words, but it makes sense. And not being able to see underneath is part of what scares you. So taking the leap of faith, you want to know where it's heading, and of course it's not a leap of faith if that's the way it's going to be. You then say, then the next minute I'm up in the universe in a ship. Straight away what comes into my mind is Star Trek. There are three people standing in front of me, each with different color tops. One red, one yellow, one blue. So we have more colors here, which is great. Star Trek, well, let's continue on. All with a gold V on the front of the shirt. I don't feel scared, it feels good. And that's the end of the dream. So it's really good. And so if you weren't sure that the first part was good, this tells us that it's a really good dream. Because up in the universe on a spaceship, this is like, you think about the Star Trek motto, their tagline is to boldly go where no one has gone before. So it backs up the leap of faith. So you're doing something that nobody's ever done, or at least doing something you've never done. But I think it's a little bit more than that. It's you're doing something that there's kind of no precedent for. But it's really good because you're up in the heavens. This matches connecting with your guides. And the two people who are in front of you in the water earlier in the dream, you don't say who they are, but two is quite often about communication, dialogue, and channeling. So it could be that you could be adding channeling to what you're going to be doing, especially then as we see you up on a spaceship. And there are three people, so this is definitely about your higher self, even though the waterfall part told us at the start because that was a high location. Three people standing in front of me, each with different colored tops, one red, one blue, and one gold, yellow and blue, with a gold V. So gold is a healing color, You say you're a massage therapist / healer, so we know you're a healer just from the colours, even if you hadn't told us. And red, when we see blue in a dream, whatever colours are there with it, we add them to it. So red is about passion and joy and fun. So the dream is asking you to have fun doing, don't lose sight of the fact that you're meant to have fun doing what you're doing. And then the yellow can indicate that you have an enlightened intellect and remind you to use that. It really depends on the colour of the yellow. If the yellow is a muddy colour, then it's asking you to overcome irrational fears. So fears that you have that something isn't going to work out, and by irrational I mean they have no basis in reality. So the fear is going to be completely unfounded. It's asking you to either use your enlightened intellect let's say it is asking you to use your enlightened intellect and overcome your fears, any fears that you would have, childish kind of like irrational fears. Just a fear that something won't work when there's really that fear does you no good. So include that with your philosophy of life when it comes to doing this completely new thing, when you're going somewhere that you've never been before. You say you don't feel scared, it feels good, and that's really good. So that's you overcoming your fear in the dream. So a really short and beautiful dream. You say, initially when I first woke up, it seemed interesting to go from such feelings of being scared, going into water, but feeling okay up in the universe. Just trying to figure it all out. Would love your interpretation. Well, there you had the interpretation, so thanks for sending that, Karen. And the reason we're doing it a little bit differently today is because I have a cold, and it's easier for me to just load the dreams up this way and do them. So I hope you don't mind. And this dream is from Judy. It's called Fixing the Past, and she says this dream is from 2004. What's interesting here is we'll see a number coming up in this dream, and it comes up in Judy's next dream as well. The other thing is dreams have a sell-by date. So a dream from 2004 is very likely a dream that has no value in interpreting today, unless it's talking about spiritual abilities that you haven't used and so on, or issues that you haven't overcome. But there's a lot of time. There's 13 years between this dream and now. So your current dreams are the ones you should be looking at, but because you will have changed somewhat in those 13 years. You'll either have gotten worse, or you'll have overcome many of the issues that the dreams talk about. But let's have a look at it anyway, out of interest. I considered at the time an unusual dream, and you say, I was with a bunch of people floating in the sky. We were wrapped up in blankets as though we had gone to sleep and were now waking up. So waking up is really good in a dream. Floating in the sky, that says that you have a strong rational mind. You tend to analyze your way through life. You figure things out intellectually and follow that path. And the reason I'm picking on the negative side of it, because it can be about other things. It also means that you have the ability to project your mind. You have this strong mind, so you can use it for projecting, focusing on the outcome you want, the future you want to create, and you're able to do it. But the reason I focus on the negative, saying rational, is because of the blankets, wrapped up in blankets. And blankets are protection from the cold. So this is you use your mind to protect yourself. So if I stay up here, and this is for a lot of us, me too, I would have had these types of dreams. We stay up in our heads, and the whole idea is that by staying out of our heart, staying away from the heart chakra, we won't feel pain in life. Nobody will get close enough to us to hurt us, and so on. Of course it doesn't work, but that's the folly that we have. We think it is going to work. But waking up is really good in a dream, because it's about something dawning on you, or you waking up to the reality of your life. Now again, this is the past, so these things don't apply to you anymore. We're now waking up, finding that we're way up in the sky, sans airplane, but at an airplane's height. We could just lean over and look at the tiny houses below, but we are safe. And of course this feeling safe is what you're trying to do. That's why you have this height. That's why you go to that height. And of course it's your own dream. You don't need to be safe. You don't need to feel safe in a dream, because everything is about you. There's no fears other than something that you project into it. As though we were on solid air or something. Then I started sinking, falling down to earth. Not too fast though. I did hit the ground with a thud though. So this is this can even be about birth, moving from a high location to a low location, and saying that the reason that you are rational is because of the way your birth was, the way you arrived on the planet. It was night, so that means that at this point in your life, you're not sure where your life's going. It was night. There was strange moonlight on a beigey soil. Beigey, there's no such word, so I'm going to take beige. So beige is about tolerance and acceptance. The moonlight indicates that you have a strong psychic ability. And I know, Judy, you told me what your abilities are, but I don't have them here, so apologies for that. So it means you have an ability to see things in the dark, so you can see things when other people can't. And I've seen this beigey soil devoid of plants and with sharp, pointy aspects to it. They're not good in a dream. They're a warning about elimination system problems, and not a good warning at that. But I mean, there's no actual physical problem shown in the dream, but you know, these they're just not good. Take it that way. It was night. There was strange. Okay, we had that. Hard to describe. I got up and went towards a house. Maybe felt a little threatened by someone, something. So going towards the house. This is you moving from the spirit world, which is a high location you started at. So the dream mixes a lot of things. So I'm talking about being rational and intellectual. So it's that, plus it also symbolizes moving from the spirit plane, because you're up on the plane, to the physical body, down to the physical earth and into a body. So when we approach a building, that's us entering our body, entering Mom's body, really. So you approach the house. Then some people who lived in the house drove up in a police car. The police car are your guides. You say police car, I think. I asked them where I was, and they said something like mile gone or mine gone, meaning that something cataclysmic had happened, and Minnesota and Oregon, maybe, or two states anyway, had joined together. They were where they used to have lots of land between them. So I thought maybe it was far in the future. I asked them when it was, and they said 1996, and of course this dream happened in 2004. So I concluded it was sort of like I had been sent to the past to try to change something about the past and make the future as I know it is now, or something strange. Now again, I'm doing this dream because it's not really too important for you today, but you have a lot of land gone, so that we have the guides showing up in your dream. Now you say you think, but I'm just going to take it that's your guides, and they say, okay, this is one of the things that you've got to work on. They said mile gone or mine gone, so this is about something missing, something from 96. So what happened in 96? Did somebody pass? I know you're 65 now, so what age were you then, and what went on then? Or did you lose something? It doesn't have to be a person. And something cataclysmic had happened. So we know something bad had happened. And you say, of course, two states clash. So the states in a dream like this is going to be about state of mind, or conflict between you and someone else, causing a seismic shift in your state. That's really what it's about. Anyway, and you say, I was sent to the past to try and change something about the past. And of course, that's what our dreams do. We can never live in the past, but we carry the effects of it. And our dreams encourage us all the time to deal with the ongoing effects, to not live in the past, to let it go, leave it where it is, and do what it takes to let it go. I hate the phrase let it go. But if we need to do a therapy, or need to do whatever we need to do it so that you can be fully in the present. And that's kind of what you're doing in the dream. You're going back and you're looking at the issue when it's kind of raw, but looking at it kind of from an objective way and saying, okay, what do I need to do here? So the dream is about your birth being kind of harsh, and or your arrival and welcome on the planet being kind of harsh. It says that you have, this is just in summary, it says you have a strong psychic ability, and you need to be tolerant. Need to be more tolerant, and tolerance and acceptance, so let people be as they are, and that's going to help heal your elimination system. So let's have a look at the next dream that you sent, same dreamer, 96 diamonds stolen. So we see 1996 in the first dream, and these dreams aren't from the same time frame, at least you don't say they are, so this one is probably new. I was traveling, and when I got where I was going, I found that someone had stolen all my diamonds. They had taken snips and cut the little diamonds off my rings and things. They had taken 96 of them. Brilliant the way numbers show up in dreams. My friend asked if I was sure that I had diamonds, and I said yes, I was sure. I knew about my jewellery. I went to some house and heard someone say that they had stolen 96 diamonds, and I wondered if they were mine. It doesn't end properly there, but so this they're taking off your rings. So I'm going to assume they're gold rings, and you can write and correct me if I'm wrong. So it says that and they go on your hand. So it says you have a healing ability, and the diamonds are about your precious gift. So it's like somebody has done something that have caused me to lose the connection with my spiritual abilities. Now, of course, you can't lose the connection. So again, go back to 1996. What went on there, and what caused you to drop things? What a cataclysmic event or major event caused you to say, okay, I'm taking a break, or whatever it is, to cause you to stop developing yourself. So you do have this precious nature. You probably do have an affinity for crystals. Let's just see. They definitely represent having your wearing your spiritual abilities for all to see. So others know what it is you do, and then they're taken off and stolen. Of course, it's up to you to get them back. So you have to do something to get it back, and what you've got to do is look at this time in your life. Just for completeness, 9 and 6 in dreams is really good. 9 says this is your last necessary earth life, so you're kind of an advanced soul. You know your way around, and things make sense to you. And 6 is about the dharmic path. But here, because of the going back in time and looking at the age, or looking at that year, go back and look at the year. So last one from the same dreamer. You say, this dream I had was in 2007. I'm being very curious about it. Okay. Again, so like I said, take it with a grain of salt, because it's not going to be as important. And I called it Mother Drink. You didn't name any of your dreams, but I call it that because of what we see happens later in the dream. This is a dream. I had a dream that I was at not exactly an office party, but some kind of get-together. So parties and dreams are about your birth, celebration of your life. I saw someone drinking an unusual drink, and she offered me a taste. The glass was very large, tall, and very much wider at the top than the bottom, an irregular shape, not a circle. The drink was clear as water and had little white cubes of things floating in it. It was a little sweetish, but not too much, and I liked it. It was an alcoholic drink. I ordered one. The name of the drink was Mother 999 something. I ordered a Mother 9999 drink. So here we know then clearly you have issues with your mom, because this is like you are picking something up from somebody else. And now the glass is tall. You say it's very large and tall, and that's actually positive. So we see from that glass, we see your psychic ability again. And the dream is saying, look, that's what you need to use. What else do we see that's significant? The clear water, the fact that it's clear is really good. So this is you able to get a clear image of things through using your psychic ability. And then the little white cubes of things floating in it. Now you don't say that they're frozen or anything like that, but if they are, it's saying overcome critical nature that you picked up from your mom. If it's ice, even if it's just white, the mom was critical. And of course, milk that we drink from our mom is white. So it's saying that part of what you got in life is copied from the way your mom was. Anyway, you say it's sweet, not too much, not too sweet, and you liked it. So it's all good. Anything else that would be significant in this part of the dream? You say it's wider at the top than the bottom. So this is also like opening the crown chakra, if you imagine, as I imagine this glass. It's quite good. And to actually be drinking from it, you're offered it, so it's to drink from it is good, but it's saying, okay, realize, of course, that you have a tendency to be a little bit critical of things. And remember, you were floating in the first dream that we looked at too, so this is in your mind and so on. So that's it. Thanks for sending those dreams, Judy, and feel free to comment on the analysis, because we are doing it differently today. Here's another one. My ex-husband wants me to go to London, and I haven't seen some of these dreams. I just pasted them in. I was staying in an apartment in Lviv, Ukraine, and this is from Nadia. She's in Ukraine at the moment. I had another apartment in another city where most of my things were, as my stay in Lviv was short. I got into a taxi and was asked to be taken to the train station. Now you say you were asked, or I presume you asked to be taken to the train station, but instead the taxi driver took me to the airport. He handed me a ticket for a flight. I had no suitcases with me. So this is really, really good in the dream. So it's saying, look, your debts are paid. You don't even have to pay for this ticket. You're already handed it by a guide in the dream, because the taxi driver is a guide. So it's really good. The apartments, because you mentioned apartments, this is about the heart, because that's what apartments symbolize. Cities are about the head, so it's a conflict between the head and the heart. Anyway, taxis can be about counselling, but it's about helping people on a one-to-one basis. So you've got the ability to help people on a one-to-one basis. But he handed you the ticket. You had no suitcases with me. That's really good, no suitcases, because that says you've no baggage, no karma. If the dream just ended there, it would be fantastic, but you didn't let it end there. So we know, okay, what's going to stop you from taking these things on easily? And I have to look and see what way it's shown up for you, so sorry for scrolling it up and down. You say, I went into the airport and my ex-husband was there. So we know it's about impacts of your relationship with you, ongoing impacts of that relationship on you. And I know you're divorced for some time. He had a long bushy beard, which is not like his usual style. My best friend and his partner were there as well. Now, you don't tell us anything about these people, so we can't comment on it. As well as a woman with 3 children, and you don't have any children, so it's going to be you at age 3 is most likely the way this is going to be. One of the children was in a stroller. They also had a large dog, which they said they would have to put in a carrier and place in the cargo. So the dog represents your natural instinctual side, so it's like separating that from yourself. So this dream, the start of this dream would have been about you healing that, but you spoiled it. My ex-husband said, surprise, we're going to London for 2 days. And you say, I can't go to London for 2 days. I'm in the middle of a production and I have rehearsal tomorrow. My ex-husband left in a huff and his partner glared at me. So how does this relate to the way your husband was? So really what the dream is about, if things are sprung on you and you don't have a rehearsal, how are you about that? The dream is basically saying you should just do it. Whatever it is, you should just go with it. Don't be worried about the rehearsals. That's easy for me to say. Nadia is a singer, by the way, a magnificent singer. And she collects kind of eclectic songs or cultural songs from all over the world. That's her forte, singing them in different languages. Quite amazing. So you want to rehearse. The dream is about you want to rehearse, but you find that you have to, like, getting on an airplane is about starting a new project, or just letting something take off. But you're annoyed at your husband. So the dream here is saying, what is going on in your life that brings up that feeling today, and then look back at age 3, and then look back at your relationship with your husband, the way he was, that also pushed the buttons that were installed around age 3. Because that's what holds you back, not the fact that you can't do it. You can definitely do this, because otherwise you wouldn't have the dreams. And I don't know whether it's about singing or what it is, but there's something that's come across your path, and the dream is saying, look, take it. You need to take this. And we don't know what it is because you didn't share. Then you say, my best friend came to me and said, Michael has been planning this for a while. Why can't you go? I said, it would have been nice if he asked me. I knew nothing of this. I could have arranged my schedule appropriately. Everyone in the room was exasperated with my ex. I don't think so. Well, you're exasperated with your ex is really the way to look at it. But the taxi driver wouldn't have been the guide in the dream. So you still have stuff around the ex that you have to deal with. They said things like, typical Michael, why didn't he contact you? What's the matter with him? We were in a restaurant when they said these things. I looked at the restaurant window and saw my ex-husband's partner looking at us. He was holding a piece of cake in his hands and eating it. So a piece of cake. So that's it's saying, look, this thing for you will be a piece of cake. And if you're to listen to your intuition, because that's what the window represents, your intuition is saying this is going to be a piece of cake, but you are holding yourself back because of issues in past relationships and because of childhood. It's not really strong in the dream. It's not saying, look, here's major stuff that you need to overcome. In fact, it's the opposite. The dream is just saying, look, just do this. This is going to work. Just do it. Maybe you'll write and let us know what it is. But that's it's a nice dream overall, because it ends with, look, you can have your cake and eat it too. It's quite good. And this dream I haven't seen. So she says the title is Entertainer, Mother of God and Angelina. I like the title. My second dream with Mother of God and a cross on the wall in a few days. She says, I was sitting at the bar standing on a high stool, but I wasn't watching the show. There was a popular singer entertainer that everybody praised, but I didn't like him. I was looking at the clear night sky instead, and I was watching the stars. I remember this particular constellation of two bright stars. Some female friend of mine, I think she was from a high school, turned my attention to the singer, and for a moment I saw his eyes like with a zoom, but his eyes were reptilian, and then his irises shifted to his right, and instead of eyes there were mathematical equations of some calculations, or maybe even money symbols. I'm unsure. Okay, so let's go back over that, and I'm just going to mark this so I know where to come back to. So sitting at the bar, so the bar is going to be about suppression, or it's going to be about activating your higher self. And I'm going to go with higher self because you're on a high stool, the fact that you mentioned the high stool, so it's like a higher position than you normally would be taking. But you weren't watching the show, there was a popular singer, and so you didn't like him. So this means that there's something going on, some entertainment that maybe you're meant to be doing, or somebody around you, you don't like the person, and you need to overcome that. Because you've got this ability, you've got an ability yourself that you need to display to other people, and you can't have the energy of I don't like people who do what I do, even though it may not be exactly that. But so that's what you need to overcome. I remember this particular constellation of two bright stars. So it's good that they're bright stars, and two is about channeling. So it's maybe channeling is what's it's going. Yeah, because a singer's about channeling as well. So it's you channeling in a public spotlight, and you not necessarily liking the idea of doing that. And so we have a male, and then we have some female friend of mine. I think she was from a high school. So again, high school being a high. Turned my attention to the singer, and that's good. And I saw his eyes. I mean, it's good that she did that. I saw his eyes with the zoom, but his eyes were reptilian. So he's not human. He's a bit different. So are you a bit afraid of channeling, or do you want to work it all out? Because you said his iris has shifted to his right, and instead of eyes, there were mathematical equations. So do you get channeling information through symbols? Because of the emphasis on the eyes here, and that's, well, you do, and that's how it's going to work for you. It comes through symbols, and you calculate what it means, but you're a little bit unsure, and that's probably what makes you not like the idea of doing this. I decided to leave, even though my friend was persuading me to stay, but I was determined to leave. As I was leaving, at one point I passed through some cafe restaurant, which was actually a remodeled ancient stone temple of a mother goddess. The temple, of course, tells us about your spiritual side. We knew that, but we knew that from the high stool at the bar, and they serve spirits at the bar. So it's, you know, it's about you connecting with spirits, and not about getting drunk. And the ancient stone temple then says that this is something you've done before, something you did in a past life, and the mother goddess is really good, getting into your female energy, which is out of the. So when you're rational and calculate things, that's of course male energy and logic. We accuse men often of being too logical. And the opposite then is getting into your emotions. That's what most of us need to do. I looked up and saw an old icon of Mother of God on the wall. The wall is about the heart as well. So you've got to work on issues around the heart. And I mean expression of feelings, not your physical heart. While strolling further, I passed by a meat grill place at the outskirts of the town and saw some lovely bacon on the grill. But I continued walking. I didn't like the owner of the place, so another I didn't like. So something's going on that you don't like right now. Walking past the meat. Why did you walk past the meat? Maybe meat's something you need to give up, or at least pork. And then I bumped into Angelina Jolie. Of course, I didn't realize it was Angelina Jolie at the start. But of course we have Angel in the name, and Angelina Jolie is an actress. So again, it's about channeling. She was wearing a beautiful, bright, long dress. She said I would look even more beautiful in it, and in her hands she was holding something that looked like cooked white spaghetti or noodles without any sauce in it. I tried it in my mouth. It was without taste. All right, that's really bizarre, isn't it? She was wearing a beautiful, bright, long dress. So that's what you need to do. See yourself as beautiful, or see this ability as beautiful, and realize that if you wear this, if you were to step into this, like stepping into the dress, that you will recognize your own inner goddess and your own beauty. She said I would look even more beautiful in it, that's fine. And in her hands she was holding something that looked like cooked white spaghetti or noodles without any sauce. So there's something to do with your digestive system here, or what you're eating. Something you're eating is causing you to break the flow of this connection. So you've got to watch your diet just for the purpose of connecting with your channeling ability. So it's very easy to do. You look at what you're eating, and you should have an idea. Like when we see the walking past the bacon, for instance, that's a good idea. That's saying bacon is a problem for you. Now you're probably going to write and say you're vegetarian, but we will see. Write and let us know. And normally I would have had these interactions with the dreamers beforehand. And I'm looking at the time. And in her hands, okay, so this is, so you have it in your hands. You watch what you eat. And spaghetti, of course, is an Italian dish, which in Italy in dreams is about the heart. So again, it's all about getting in touch with your feelings and female side. Let the energy flow, the female energy flow through you. I had two more here, but I'll just do one. It's called blood transfusion. Hi Michael, my husband had a short dream, and although he doesn't remember much about the beginning or the end, he completely remembers that at one point he was getting a blood transfusion and the IV was in his foot. There were only medical workers around, but no one he recognized. Now he works as a doctor or as a medical, works in the medical field. I'm not quite sure what it is he does, but so he's around doctors and medical workers all the time, and indeed he probably is one. And you could say all I could think of was he was changing so much from what his bloodline is or was that is like he's had a transfusion. But of course I'm sending it on to you because you're the expert. That's Jackie, okay. So yeah, it is. It's really good. So the blood transfusion is like, and in the foot, you don't say which foot, but it's, so feet are about moving forward, moving forward with regard to something. So this transfusion is about you being infused with new energy and new life. To replace whatever was there before that caused you to not move forward with regard to your spiritual abilities. So a really good dream. I would expect after this dream to see you really doing, making changes and strong advancements in what is your spiritual path. So I feel a sneeze coming on. Excuse me. And this is why we're doing it differently today, because I had to really pump my energy up to be able to do this, and I didn't want to just not do a show. So I'm going to leave it at that, and that's going to be it for this week. Thanks for tuning in and watching the show, and do remember I have a course starting on the 6th of January. If you want to find details about that, go to dream-analysis.com. You will also find a link to it under the show on YouTube. You will also be able to send your dreams to the show on YouTube with a link that I have under YouTube. So I'm going to leave you with a quote, with this being the holidays, start of the holidays, with Thanksgiving already come and gone, and we're into the silly season and lots of parties. We were up in Bellingham last weekend and saw a sign in a wine bar window, and it said, "Drinking 3 glasses of wine a day reduces your risk of giving a shit." And I thought I would just share that with you. Take care. Until next week.